The CEO took just one bite of the cake her granddaughter brought back. The next second, she was shocked to realize the taste of the cake was exactly the same as the one her husband used to make. She quickly asked her granddaughter to take her to the person who made the cake, because he could very likely be her husband, who had been missing for 15 years. It was on the CEO's birthday 15 years ago that her husband personally made her a lemon honey cake. This was a unique dessert that only her husband could make. The CEO also took out the safety charms embroidered with the names of her family members and handed them out one by one to her husband and their 3 children, hoping they would bless the family to live together in peace. Soon, the children finished the entire cake. Seeing how the children still wanted more, the husband decided to go out and buy more ingredients to make another cake. At that time, there was a heavy rain and a typhoon raging outside. Before he left, the CEO specially reminded her husband to be careful. Unexpectedly, that became the last thing she ever said to her husband. He never came back after stepping out. And just like that, he mysteriously disappeared into that stormy night. In the 15 years that followed, the CEO's family never gave up on trying to find him. She didn't even dare to move to a new place. She continued to live in the old villa with her children, hoping one day her husband would suddenly appear at their doorstep. And the children all carefully preserved their own safety charms, as they were the only tokens that could prove their connection to their father. But what the CEO's family didn't know was that the husband was working as a security guard in their very neighborhood. It turned out that on that typhoon day 15 years ago, on his way back after buying ingredients, he happened to see a poor little girl swept into the lake by the violent wind. Kind-hearted as he was, he rescued the girl, but ended up suffering from amnesia due to an accident. He forgot his identity, his family, and everything about his past. Later, he adopted the little girl and raised her as his own daughter. To support her education, he took a job as a security guard at the neighborhood gate. Now, the adopted daughter had not only graduated from college successfully, but also passed an interview and became an intern at the CEO's company. Years of hard work had made the man grow old, and he looked very different from how he used to be. So the CEO didn't recognize him at all. Although the man had no memory of the past, he still carried the safety charm with him every day, feeling in his subconscious that it was something very important. One day, the youngest son was driving his girlfriend home, but was stopped by the man at the gate. The reason was that the car had not been photographed and registered to enter the neighborhood. The youngest son also didn't recognize that the security guard in front of him was the father he had been searching for all these years. Instead, he acted arrogantly and insisted on forcing his way in. The man still tried to stop him, but was kicked to the ground by the youngest son, and the safety charm he was carrying fell to the ground, but neither of them noticed it. Seeing her foster father lying on the ground in pain, the adopted daughter became emotionally overwhelmed and shouted at the youngest son, "Don't you have a father? Why would you treat an old man like this?" Unexpectedly, the youngest son became even angrier upon hearing this. He questioned her, "How dare you compare my father to a security guard?" Furious, he moved forward, ready to scold her. Fortunately, a phone call came in at that moment, his sister urging him to come home. So the youngest son had no choice but to let them go and drove away in a hurry. No one noticed that the car's tire happened to roll over the safety charm on the ground, taking it away along with the car. After returning home, the youngest son asked a house servant to clean the car. That's when the servant discovered the charm stuck to the tire. He quickly brought the charm to the CEO. The CEO and her children were extremely emotional. Now that the husband's charm had turned up, it meant that he might be nearby. And coincidentally, tomorrow was the CEO's birthday. She decided to hold a grand birthday banquet, hoping that a miracle might happen. Maybe the husband would show up after hearing the news. Early the next morning, the security team received word that the CEO was hosting a birthday banquet. The team leader immediately assigned tasks to all the staff to ensure security preparations were in place. The man was patrolling near the CEO's villa with his co-workers, but it was his first time coming to this area, and he strangely felt that everything around the villa looked very familiar. When he looked at the wind chime hanging on the tree, a vague image of a little boy calling him Dad flashed through his mind. Soon, he arrived at the back door of the villa. His hand instinctively reached out and touched the wall of the building. In a dazed state, he saw a scene of a family playing and laughing together in this place. More and more memories started flooding back, causing the man to feel increasingly disoriented. He accidentally stumbled into the banquet scene. Feeling dizzy, he grabbed onto a table to keep himself from falling to the ground. At that moment, a little girl about 4 or 5 years old ran over. She called out to the man, "Grandpa," and anxiously asked if he was sick. It turned out that this little girl was the CEO's granddaughter. She had never seen what her grandfather looked like, but based on a child's intuition, she felt that this security guard had a warmth like family. The man also felt a deep familiarity with the little girl. If he had once had a family before losing his memory, perhaps his own granddaughter would be about the same age as this girl. The little girl told him that her grandma loved eating lemon honey cake. She wanted to surprise her grandma, but she didn't know how to make one, so the man agreed to the little girl's request and offered to make a lemon honey cake for her. But just as the cake was finished, the youngest son stormed in furiously, grabbed the man by the collar, and dragged him outside, shouting that he was going to teach him a lesson.